guys! So now that my journey in Lost Ark is coming to an end, I was looking around where I could start my next one, and I stumbled upon Black Desert Online. Upon looking a little bit further into it, I saw many great and positive reviews about a game. When I asked my friend about it, he also had many positive things to say about it, and so I decided to give it a go myself, and here we are, creating our first character in this game. Even though there is many classes, and that's a little bit overwhelming in this game, because as a new player I have no idea what to choose from, at the end I decided to go for a Guardian, simply because it looked the best to me. I like the skills. The skills look the coolest to me, and really that's about it. That's how I chose my character. And so once I logged in, the adventure of Black Desert Online began. In the very start we are being showed what happened in the past. Also the game shows us a little bit of controls, how to use them, which is nice. We get to try out the main controls of the game, and then immediately soon after we get attacked and we have a chance to try out some of the combat, which in this game I have to say feels pretty amazing, even though it's only the beginning of the game. Upon defeating these enemies, a giant appears, and he guides us to some sort of a relic, so we need to follow him and catch up to him. After doing so, he points to some sort of an ancient relic, a black stone of sorts, and it starts to shine. Once we enter the light, we travel to this other dimension, and here there are more guardians of these ancient powers. And here we have a first chance to try out our combos, which is pretty confusing to be honest as a new player in the beginning, but at least the game shows you what kind of combos can you do, so you are not completely overwhelmed. But still, as a new player, that is definitely quite a lot for you. Once I defeated all of these guardians, I got betrayed by this white wizard here. She stabbed me in the back and took the black energy power for herself. However, not every single spirit went to her. One of these little spirits went to me. I don't know why, but so we decided to do, and I guess it helped me to stay alive, and immediately after that we're given a choice whether to skip some of the story or experience all of it, and of course as a new player I chose to experience all of it. And so we wake up many years into the future, not knowing what to happen, our memories forgotten, all that we know that we have this little guy next to us, and now we need to figure out what's going on. Admittedly, the first thing when you log into the game is immediately noticeable just how much of the menu there is. It's eye-watering amount for a new player. There's just so much, it is completely overwhelming at first. I'm sure I'm gonna get used to it eventually, but for now it was very overwhelming for me. One thing admittedly I do like about this game is the dialogues between NPCs. Not only they are voiced, but by pressing R key, you switch between them, so you never need to go between NPCs yourself. Here we're being sent to excavation zone to talk to this guy, who for some reason is consistently face-palming himself, which is kinda weird but rock. He explains us a little bit more of the history of this region, what happened in the past, what kind of kingdoms there were, and what they are doing here. Quickly enough, we managed to find one of the black stones, and upon touching it, we get a little bit of our memories back. We remember what happened, how we got betrayed, how we saw the giant, how we got stabbed in the back, and how we met the little black spirit, and how we have some sort of a deal with him. Immediately after that, everybody got frozen there for a second, and once we left this excavation zone, a whole bunch of black spirits appeared and they blocked the entrance, and so we are no longer able to enter it. The black spirit explained to us that it was just a fake, it wasn't a real black stone, but it was enough to trigger the memories. After that, we have a chance to try out a little bit more of the combat. The combat in this game feels amazing. It's a little bit sluggish maybe at the beginning, although my friend did say that the pace will quicken as we progress, but for now it is very fun, just maybe a little bit on the sluggish side, but very fun nonetheless and very enjoyable. Everything feels like it has a huge weight to it. Every swing feels like it does a huge amount of damage, even though it not always does, but it feels like it. And then we met the spoiled princess.
This tastes horrible. Did you really think I would eat this garbage?
Princess, we are not in Heidel anymore.
Ugh, whatever.
She was complaining about how we messed up her plans and everything, and then she got really angry.
Chiseled face! Get out! All of you! Never show your faces here again!
On one hand, that is quite the voice acting, on the other hand, man is she annoying, isn't she? Anyway, the game presents us with the first selectable questline, So every now and then you're able to choose your quest line. From what I understand, it doesn't affect the story overall, it's just every now and then it will give you a selection of possibilities how can you progress through the story, which is kinda cool. In that way it's never the same. So by talking to the princess, she told us there is a big goblin problem and we need to solve it for her, and in order to do that we need to find a red-nosed goblin who is the commander of these goblins. From what we know, he also uses black energy, so we need to find him anyway. So we do some interrogations, we destroy some carts, we make goblins talk, and soon enough, after drinking a potion and being able to see the dark energy, we find the footstep of Rednose, and by following it, we eventually make it to his cave, and that's when he appears. And by the way guys, the depth of field, focus and blur, it's kind of a hit and miss every now and then, to be honest. The game looks beautiful, it's just that sometimes it looks a little bit weird. It would go in and out of focus sometimes, I don't know why, but the game looks beautiful, but yeah. But yeah, anyways, this was the first boss of this game for me. And I have to tell you guys, the bosses in this game are quite strong. Me and my friend, we were fighting him together. If I was alone, I would have had much harder time. Compared to normal monsters, the bosses are significantly stronger, like multiple times. I also encountered my first death here. Luckily, I was able to respawn here in the spot because I was under level 20, and eventually this guy transformed into second phase, and that phase was even a little bit more stronger. So bosses in this game are no joke. Even the first one wasn't too easy. Thankfully, I had a friend to help me, and that wasn't too big of a deal to defeat him. Also, this black spirit, I don't know if he's a friend or a foe. Sometimes he wants to do what's right and sometimes he's completely selfish. We'll see, I guess, as time will go. Also, the black spirit absorbed the black energy that the red nose had, and so the princess wasn't happy again because she received none of it. But that being said, we did defeat the commander of the goblins and we became the hero who defeated the red nose. But the story doesn't end there. As we're being sent to this other town, we realize there's more to the story. Even though the commander is defeated, there's still a goblin problem. They are still attacking the citizens and the traders, and so we need to solve that problem as well. We also met this girl here, and she's definitely a little bit overdramatic.
Does ceaseless whispering fill your head? Do you have an unquenchable thirst? Is that thirst for apocalyptic chaos?
Every day, darling, every day, but that's besides the point. Anyways, and then we meet her sister and we get into the bar, we get completely drunk, and then we wake up next morning, and this lady here once again meet us. And she explains a little bit more what we need to do. Aside from the goblin problem, there's also a girl named Emma. She's the granddaughter of the chief, and she's having nightmares. She's having nightmares because she's an ancestor of the king of Kron, who made a pact with black spirits to take away the lives of the citizens in order to grant them immortality. And so now she bears the curse for what her ancestors did. And so we meet her, and she tells us more about her nightmares and why her life is so difficult. And we get a cutscene of one of her nightmares.
In Kron Castle, ruined by sins of past, lay tiny souls hidden, but some strange force keeps me restrained. Then, blackest smoke soon overtakes me, the crimson gaze, I can't escape thee!
And this is the way she sleeps every night. And then we speak to these two guys. Upon talking to both of them, we got told that we need to defeat the king of goblins. After a few quests, we found him, he appeared, and he was the second boss of the game. Just like the first boss of the game, he was anything but easy. But again, luckily I had a friend to help, so he was a little bit better. Bosses in these games are really cool, but really strong at the same time. Eventually, surely but slowly, we managed to defeat all the minions, and we were able to defeat the boss itself. But just before defeating him, he transformed himself into his second form, and to be honest guys, the cutscene itself was longer than the amount of life he had left in him, which was kind of weird, but you know, it's okay. And that's how we solved the goblin problem. Now we need to solve the second problem, which is Emma's nightmares. But before we did that, we needed to defeat this guy once again, because for some reason, to my friend, the kill didn't count, and we needed to kill one more. I don't know why, the first one did, this one did it, but it's fine, we did it again. And then we arrived at this castle. Here we needed to pretend that we're an inspectors, we need to inspect some stuff to get in. After a little bit of shaky hands and shaky voice, we managed to tell them the password and they let us in. Once we got in, I was able to talk to this little spirits here. They were the citizens of this castle, and they told us in order to save them and release them free and be free of the nightmare, we need to defeat the King's Guard. And so we begin the longest climb in the world. Guys, this is in real time. I have no idea why the game developers did that. This is absolutely ridiculous. This climb took forever, and I'm not joking. You can see it. You're with me here. And then it got even slower for some reason. She got tired, which is just insane. Please, no more. Thank you. Anyway, guys. And then we got here to the statue. Emma, using her spells and using her blood, she was able to summon the guard of the king. And now we faced our third boss of this game. And this boss, admittedly, he kind of felt a little bit like Dark Souls boss, or at least looked like it anyway. But that being said, he was so much stronger than the first two bosses we faced. If I was alone, I probably would have had very bad time. Thankfully I wasn't alone, but this guy was super strong. He was really strong. It took us probably a better part of like 8 to 10 minutes to defeat him. He had quite a lot of HP and he was hitting really strong, so we had to jump around and try to evade him as much as possible. But soon enough we managed to defeat him, and then we were showed a cutscene of us finding the black stone, the real one. And as we got close to it, using our black spirit, we were able to open it, and as it opened, it released the curse and released all the spirits of the citizens, and so Emma's nightmares were finally over. Also, our little guy here evolved. He became a little bit stronger. Probably. I don't know, to be honest. But he did change his form a little bit. Just a little bit, but he did. And then we can see just how many spirits are released. And that's, my friends, how we became the hero of the city. We defeated the Goblin Commander, we defeated the Goblin King, we defeated the Guardian of the King, released all the trapped spirits, and retrieved a black stone. And that's how we saved the day. And this is where we are now. This is how far I got into the game so far. So, what are my thoughts about the game? Well, first of all, let's start with the positives. The game is very beautiful. It's very pretty. It's probably one of the prettiest MMOs I ever played. Skills look amazing. The open world feels fantastic. There's very little cutscenes because everything is just one big open world. The classes selection is excellent, although a little bit overwhelming for a new player, but I'm sure as you get further into the game and you want to experience more classes, it is rather fun that you have a lot to choose from, especially if you're a long fan of the game. That has to be amazing for you. Even though I didn't customize too much of the character, I'm not a really big fan of those things. It doesn't really matter for me too much, but I did see that there is an insane amount of customization you can do for the character, which is amazing. I kinda like the combo system in the game. Even though it's rather confusing for a new guy, it does feel satisfying when you do an amazing combo and you hit just everything just right. Even though sometimes it can feel like hit or miss, sometimes it just feels like I'm pressing the same keys, but different actions happen. Or maybe it just feels like it to me, I don't know. Maybe the game should do a little bit better of introduction to these combos. I'm sure as you progress and you get used to them, they're gonna be pretty fun. But then again, who knows? I'm just speaking from the amount I have played so far. I like how the skills have a huge weight to them. Every skill and every hit you deliver, it feels like there's a proper weight to them. Like when you hit, it feels like you hit. It really does. It doesn't feel like a light swing. It feels like you hit with all the power in the world, which is pretty awesome. Now, maybe a little bit more on the negative side. Not really negative, maybe just things that were a little bit a lot for me. The menu itself, while I'm sure once you get used to it, it's gonna be cool. You know, everything's there, you can click everything. The UI does feel very flexible, but at the same time, there is so much of it. When you just log in as a new player, it just completely takes you by surprise, just how much things there are on the screen, and you have no idea what to do with them. Even when I had my friend, who is not new to this game, he had played it before, so he is helping me a little bit to understand the game. Even then, just the amount of things you can click definitely felt quite overwhelming. The game gives you a lot of items, but doesn't really explain what to do with them. I have a whole bunch of items as you can see here, don't really know what to do with them. My friend just told me just put them in the bank. We're gonna figure out what to do with them later. If you guys want to explain me some of these items, be my guest, do that in the comments. Also, if you have any tips or advices without spoiling too much, just the things I should know, should not miss, I will gladly take those tips. Just write them down in the comments, I'll be sure to read. Like I said before, the blur, the depth of field kinda feels a little bit hit or miss sometimes. It just goes in and out of focus. I don't know why the game does that. It's not a deal breaker, it just feels a little bit weird sometimes. Although I like that the game has tracker, so it's easy to get to places, and it has auto walk, but the way the tracker works is definitely a little bit disappointing. Sometimes you just need to go a few meters, but the tracker will show you to go a mile to other direction and then go back. But at least there is an auto walker. You can just press T and then just relax for a few minutes until your character gets to destination. But aside from that, I don't really have any negatives about the game. Even these were not negatives. These were just a few things that I pointed out. For now, I don't feel too many negatives about the game. I feel like there's a lot to learn in the game. I need to figure out how to use my skills properly, what combos are the best, what items do what, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of stuff to still figure out, but thankfully I have my friend, I have you guys, and so even though I'm playing this game for the first time, I am not alone, I have all of you guys, and I'm sure I'll be fine. So far the game has been very enjoyable. To get to this point, I probably played around like 4 to 5 hours. I'm sure I could have gotten here faster, but I was listening to every dialogue, every story, every cutscene. It feels like there's an interesting story behind this game, and I want to explore it, also share it with you guys. Also, I'm very slow right now. I do everything slowly because I just don't know what I do. It takes time for me to figure everything out. Even when I have somebody to help, it still does. Right now I'm loving it here in this game, and I'll be sure to make more videos. As long as the game is enjoyable, I will be continuing uploading my journey through this game. But yeah, anyway guys, like always, I appreciate you watching it. I know it's quite a lengthy video. I appreciate you making all the way to the end. If you could subscribe, like, comment for the algorithm, that would be amazing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.